A far cry from the high-speed chases and dramatic shootouts of Hollywood, a case officer's real job is to recruit spies and steal secrets, convincing individuals to provide information in return for financial compensation. Expensive items like watches can be crucial tools in an agent's recruitment cycle and are used by CIA, Russian SVR, and intelligence services around the globe. In this video, we'll explore the intriguing roles played by timepieces in intelligence operations. Watches of Espionage is curated by a former CIA case officer with a passion for timepieces. On the WOE YouTube channel, we explore the intersection of watches and the military, intelligence, and national security. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be informed when we release new videos. The core job of a CIA case officer is to recruit human assets by building relationships with targets and convincing them to provide foreign intelligence on their government or organization to further U.S. national security interests. The trade is not for the faint of heart. In return, assets are compensated with cash, favors, and other stores of value, including expensive watches and other luxury goods. At WOE, we often discuss the role of timepieces in military and intelligence operations, but watches also play a small but significant role in the agent recruitment cycle, the transition of an individual from a target to a recruited asset, aka a spy. But why would an intelligence officer use a watch from a brand like Rolex, AP, or Hublot over cash when recruiting an asset? Espionage is a human business, and watches are small transferable stores of value that also carry personal meaning, making them effective tools of intelligence tradecraft. Over the years, timepieces have found themselves at the center of several prominent instances of international espionage and intrigue. In December 2014, Ahmed Abu Ammu met with an official from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in London. During the meeting, Abu Ammu received a Hublot Big Bang Unico King, valued at $42,000. After being given the watch, Abu Ammu, who was a media partnerships manager for Twitter, allegedly provided information to identify and locate Twitter users of interest to the Saudi royal family. While the Department of Justice described the watch as a bribe, it was really an operational gift provided by the Saudi official, likely an intelligence officer, to further the clandestine relationship. Ignoring a company policy for reporting expensive gifts, Abu Ammu's acceptance of the watch indicated his willingness to enter a transactional arrangement. In 2015, Abu Ammu established a bank account in Lebanon where he received at least $200,000. At that point, he was recruited as an asset. To convert the flashy Hublot into cash, Abu Ammu flew to the US and reportedly tried to sell the watch on Craigslist for $20,000, creating an electronic trail of evidence that would ultimately lead to his conviction in 2022. FBI Special Agent Robert Hansen was recruited by Soviet intelligence in 1979 and worked for the USSR off and on for 20 years before being arrested in February 2001. Directly responsible for the deaths of several U.S. assets, Hansen was described by the DOJ as the most damaging spy in FBI history. Hansen also had an obsession with watches. According to the DOJ, he received at least 2 Rolexes as forms of payment while working for the Soviet Union, as well as more than $1.4 million in cash and diamonds. Today, the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. has a fake Rolex as well as a pair of handcuffs that belong to Hansen on display, as well as another Tag Heuer watch of Hansen's in its archives. Was the replica Rolex provided by Russian intelligence as a form of payment? We can only speculate. The most common question we get at WOE: where's the best place to buy a watch? Easy. Bezel. Bezel is a modern, tech-enabled marketplace connecting serious collectors and trusted sellers. With tens of thousands of watches and $750 million in inventory listed, they offer everything from a Rolex GMT to a Breitling Aerospace for the sketchier among us. And if it's not listed, their concierge will hunt it down. Every single watch sold goes to Bezel's headquarters for in-house authentication, checking for originality, aftermarket parts, and even cross-checking against stolen watch registries. If it doesn't pass, the sale's canceled, and their team will work to find you a replacement. Once it checks out, it's overnighted to your door, insured and ready to wear. Their app also offers 7-day no-premium auctions. If you want to buy a watch and mitigate risk, Bezel is where you start. Download the Bezel app or visit getbezel.com, because in this world, authenticity is everything. CIA case officer Jim Nicholson was arrested in November 1996 for spying for the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service. Nicknamed Batman early in his operational career for his risk-taking ways, Nicholson was famously photographed wearing a t-shirt that said, "KGB is for me," the irony of which is not lost. At the time, Nicholson was the highest-ranking CIA officer arrested under espionage charges, which included providing data on many of the young CIA officers he helped train from 1994 to 1996. After one overseas trip, Nicholson reportedly returned with a brand new Rolex. While it is as yet unconfirmed that this was a direct payment from the Russian SVR, there are indications that if the watch wasn't given to him, then Nicholson likely purchased it with funds provided by his handling officer. Nicholson's Rolex also played a role in his tradecraft and was reportedly utilized as a visual recognition signal when meeting his Russian handlers. He was instructed to wear his Rolex on his right wrist and carry a magazine and a shopping bag. After serving 27 years in prison, Nicholson was released in 2023. In Hollywood, CIA's recruitment often happens in a single dramatic meeting involving a large stack of cash. In reality, the agent recruitment cycle is similar to dating, lasting months and often years. The most successful examples are not transactional. They are real, mutually beneficial relationships built on trust. The recruitment process is framed with the acronym SAD-RAT. The first step is to spot or identify a target who may have access to foreign intelligence, or FI, of interest. He may be a North Korean intelligence officer, an Iranian nuclear scientist, or a fixer for a non-state terror network. Next is to assess for access and suitability. Does he have motivations or vulnerabilities that would make him susceptible to a CIA approach? Does he have children who want to go to college in the US, a gambling addiction, or an ailing mother who needs medical care? Maybe he appreciates fine Swiss timepieces but doesn't have the cash for a Daytona. Everyone has a weakness. At the develop stage, it's time to make contact with the target. It may be a chance encounter at a diplomatic function or an unsuspecting bump at the gym. Gradually and methodically transition the relationship from casual to more serious while slowly introducing clandestine tradecraft. This is a great place to drop that green Rolex box on the table after a nice meal out. The acceptance of an expensive gift, like a watch, is an indicator that the target is willing to break the rules. The recruit stage is where an intelligence officer formally asks the individual to commit to the clandestine relationship. Most of the time, this is an anticlimactic moment, as the asset believed he started working for CIA in the developmental phase. Clandestinely handle the agent to produce regular FI. The agent should be responsive to tasking and fill intelligence gaps in return for a salary that can be paid in various forms, including watches. In the movies, termination often involves piano wire around the neck. While this may be true for some international intelligence services, at CIA, most case officers strive for terminations that are firm, fair, and final, leaving the door open for potential recontact in the future. The recruitment cycle is slow and methodical, and the core step is the development of the target, which lasts months or years. There are also specific milestones a developmental must meet before moving to the next stage. At first, the acceptance of an expensive meal may be an indicator that the individual is willing to cross a line, but over time, these financial benefits increase. A timepiece, whether luxury or affordable, is an ideal gift. It's immediately recognizable, and it's something that the agent can wear as a constant reminder of their friendship with the case officer, and thus the greater relationship with the U.S. government. The act of accepting the watch is also a sign, showing the developmental's willingness to ignore typical regulations for reporting expensive gifts in favor of himself and his relationship with the handling officer. It's testing the waters for future cash payments and an expanded clandestine relationship. To avoid suspicion, the case officer must work with the target to develop an appropriate cover story regarding the watch's origin. A brand new Rolex GMT Master 2 on the wrist of a Russian third secretary would be difficult to explain, but a Seiko 5 could easily be explained away. In addition to the use of timepieces in clandestine operations, watches also make effective tools as gifts to create and solidify ties between intelligence services, a tradition that extends back to the earliest days of CIA. In 1943, Ilya Tolstoy and Brooke Dolan, both members of CIA's predecessor, the Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, presented the Dalai Lama with a Patek Philippe reference 658 on behalf of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Reportedly, the purpose of the gift was to win the Dalai Lama's support for a potential road through Tibet into China to assist the Chinese in fighting the Japanese. The watch clearly had meaning for the Dalai Lama and is something he still carries today. For intelligence officers, watches aren't just tools for telling time. They're instruments of influence in a trade built on trust, discretion, and human vulnerability. From a Hublot exchanged in a London hotel to a Rolex worn as a visual recognition signal, these stories remind us that espionage is, at its core, a human business. Watches endure because they can be as meaningful as they are valuable, qualities that make them uniquely suited to intelligence work. In the wilderness of mirrors, where alliances are fluid and motives are rarely pure, a watch is never just a watch, but a quiet indicator of where loyalty may ultimately lie. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and hit the bell icon to be informed when we release new videos. For even more, check out our website, watchesofespionage.com, for more content, as well as our collection of watch straps and other purpose-built tools designed for our community. Until next time, happy hunting.